This is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. My co-host is Bill Morton, president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Our very, very special guest today is Iris Martinez. She is the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. Welcome, Clerk Martinez.
Well, thank you. And foremost, thank you so much for having me here. I'm just excited about the show.
Yeah, we want our viewers to learn more about you, and what best way to learn about you is your fabulous staff, your closest staff, and how they represent you in all the various duties in helping the community.
Well, thank you. Yes, I have a very incredible, very, very talented staff, very diverse. I have Vietnamese. I have someone from Japan. I've got 2 African Americans with that are my chief of staff and my general counsel. I have a retired judge who happens to be my policy advisor. She's there. She was the one that really helped me put a lot of that together. And then we have an operations, the court operations person, and our CFO are Hispanic. So we got a very, very diverse office because we wanted to make sure that it reflect the county of Cook. As you know, our county is very, very diverse, with big, with the sectors all being represented in my office.
If our the public, usually the public, is it the court staff, like the lawyers and the judges that interact with the clerk?
There is, right. So we're the administrator of the second largest unified system in the world is our office. And there, we work directly with our judges. We work directly with the office of the chief judge, Jim Evans. We work with the PD's office. We with the public defender. We work with the sheriff's office. We work with the city attorney's office. So we have a partnership with all of them because the court systems has to bring all of them in. So that's part of the people that I collaborate every single day on issues, whether it be a case, information, orders of protection. So we have a little bit of everything. Our office does all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody involved in the court system relies on your office for all records.
For all records. We are the keeper of the records. We don't create them. We are just the official keepers of the record. I want people to know that. I don't create the record. What our clerks do is they transcribe everything that the judges actually put into the system. Whatever they dictate, whatever, let it be a motion, whatever, that has to be taken and put into the system by our clerks. But a clerk, the courtroom cannot open without a clerk. The judge cannot open up a courtroom. Only the clerk can open up a courtroom and get it going.
So as for records, does that include audio recordings?
Don't forget any evidence that is introduced with that file, with that case. So let it be audio, let it be whatever is there. We have records in the old records over in the record center. We have John Gacy. We still have John Gacy stuff in a cage. So you can tell. So any evidence is everything. We collect all of that. That's all part of the cases. So whether it be that it needs to be caged in our record center, all the information that comes with that case all has to be in the system.
How does the public interact with you? Is it some of them want some records concerning their cases, or what about members of the press? How do they interact with your office?
Well, first and foremost, we're not foiable, but we are very opening when it comes to people looking for inquiries. Anything the media would want, we're able to do within the law. Remember, we just cannot just give files away. Right now, people can actually search for their cases online. What our office does is making sure that all the status of all these court are up to date, so people can go in and see when the next court date is, or making sure what the status is. We could actually go look in the system to see what is the current status of a particular case, and we have everything. Every court document has to be filed through our court system, which includes divorces, child support, inquiring about the child support, orders of protection, criminal, probate, any filing wills, adoptions, everything comes through our office. So you can imagine it's a very, very, it's abundant with so many services that we offer that people come in. And one of the things that we've done there is because of the fact in today's world where people just cannot afford attorneys, we opened up a self-litigant office. So people that are looking to get, to have some kind of representation and they don't have it, we have an office where we have our partners, our legal partners like Cabrini Green, Legal Aid, and some other. They work with us in making sure that we can provide some kind of advice to that individual, because we cannot give advice to anyone coming in. Like I said, we're the official records of the keeper of the records, but we have partnership where we have anyone who needs to be has to self-represent, we try to get them ready by putting them together with the CB, with the Cabrini Green folks and other legal folks, so they can able to go and represent themselves. That was very important because we saw lines and lines of people when I first got there waiting just to talk to how can they how can they get help, and we found that we needed to make sure there was a space dedicated for them so they can be able to meet quietly, privately with someone to get them ready so they can self-represent themselves. That was a very important one. Another thing too that we also saw as we were doing communities, the clerks in the communities, the expungement. There was such a backlog of expungements when I got there. There was a backlog, almost 6,000 applications were still sitting there that had not been taken care of. We already addressed that backlog. But however, we did see that as we started doing these clerks in the community, that more and more people were making inquiries. So Father Flager, I worked with Father Flager in getting, an expungement summit over in his area. Reverend Calloway has worked with me. There's a lot of community groups that are out there that have been working with our office and making sure that these expungement applications that people need are filled out correctly. So seeing that, I decided, we need our own expungement center here in our office. So we opened up an expungement center over at 26th California on the 5th floor. And so now people don't have to wait for a summit to happen. They can actually go there and start the process. And there's people there to guide them through. And then, of course, we still have a relationship with the Cabrini Green Legal Aid. They oversee a lot of our stuff to make sure that when that application has to be fully completed the right way with there, because then it'll go to where the inquiries, where it goes to the state attorney's office, it'll go to the judge for signature. So there's a process, and it could take anywhere between 6 to 10 months, because it is a process. But we are seeing more and more people coming forward looking for that kind of service. And these are people that might have done something 20 years ago, and it's still affecting them today. Expungements are such a necessary thing for our constituents because of the fact that it can prohibit them from getting a good job if they don't, because of the background checks that are being done. So we want to make sure that we work with our communities to make sure that anyone that's eligible for a expungement, we will work with them and get them. And we've come across people that might have done something 20 years ago, and it still affects them today. So we're again, more and more we're seeing that. We also found over 11,000 outstanding warrants that had not been taken care of in the system. So we quash and recall those 11,000 plus, because we had a program. We were working with one of the universities in expungement and a warrant program, and we were able to identify over 11,000 that were in the system for the last 5 years. So we've been able to bring that backlog down to almost nothing. So we've been able to catch up on a lot of things that needed to be catch up in that office.
So you've got expungement applications, you've got outstanding warrants, you've got records of all kinds, every record in Cook County. They're not FOIAble, but you make them available.
We make them available.
Who do you make them available to?
To whoever comes in inquiring. I mean, the fact that we don't have a FOIA, it's because of the fact when I first got to Springfield, when I came back from Springfield, one of the things that we kept hearing over that the office of the clerk is not FOIAble. And that's because of the sensitive information that we have. We got to be very careful.
Do you redact some of the information?
Well, we don't redact unless we're told. Remember, we cannot do anything unless we are told. We cannot just take a book, we cannot do that. It has to be by court order. It has to be by something motioning for it to happen. So we cannot just redact. However, if it does, yes, we do redact. We will redact whatever the order may be. But again, like I said, as a keeper of the records, we don't create them. We just maintain them. So whatever information is needed or not needed, that through court order, it's out. So the FOIA part of it whenever the media comes in and they have access. They can go into our system, sit there, and go through whatever they can. But like I said, certain information will never be available because it is confidential information.
So when you release these records, it's only by court order.
When we release the records for what?
For anything, the expungement applications.
They can take a look. Nobody can take a file out of the system. They can look at it, and that's it. I mean, it's not like they can say, "I want this file."
Right.
Right. It's not that simple.
They can't take the original file,
Right.
of course.
No, absolutely not. And you know what? And that was another reason why we needed to digitize. We need to digitize so everything is in it, so you can actually look at something. You can look at the case. You cannot see all the things that are attached to that, the attachments and all that. That is pretty private because that's where a lot of the information is contained. But as far as inquiry about looking for someone, and looking for that information from that someone, you will find it. You will not find all the other things that are, much more confidential that is kept as part of that case. But the inquiries we try to work with the media to have them have access or show them how to navigate through our new system because we had to go in there and really, like I said, digitizing everything. The beauty about it is that now everything is in the system, but some of our old judges still like to have the file in their hand. They want that case.
The paper.
Yeah, and what's very dangerous about that sometimes these records have to be sent from one courthouse to another. Anything could happen. You know what I mean? So that's why digitizing is so important, so we can stop that of transferring. I mean, honestly, getting in the car and taking files over to somewhere that could be very dangerous. Because you never know of an accident, you never know if a car is stolen. I mean, there's so many things. That's why we've been really working on digitizing everything. So that file, the judge will always have everything in that file right in front of him. Everything. He has access to every scanned article, every document. He will always have access to it.
Is he able to print anything out, like if he wants it on paper?
Oh yeah, we can. I mean, you can print. I mean, that if there's something that needs to be did, it'll be print. But I'm just saying that at least the paperwork that is so, you can have a file this big. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anything could happen. And
Or
we've
this
seen,
big.
and we have seen cases where there might be something missing there, but it's not because it's because maybe the judge might have put it left in his chamber, because the attorney might have taken it out to look at something and misplaced it. I mean, you'll be surprised sometimes the little things, the glitches that that's why it's so important that we continue to digitize and make it 100%, all fully accessible, because paperwork can get lost and or misfiled or and we want to make sure that never happens, because one paperwork that's missing could be the difference between what this person may get or whatever, what can affect this person.
Yes.
Definitely. So you implemented all these processes, the self-litigants, and then digitized records so that they're more accessible. When some of these processes run into kinks, and then how maybe people are using it and they see in some ways that they could be improved, how do they get in touch with you? Is it first of all, couldn't even understand why you have an inspector general, but what does he do? He's your Vietnamese person, right?
Yes, he is. And let me just say about the independent inspector general. He's the person there that's making sure that anyone has any inquiries or reports fraud or whatever, it goes to him. He investigates. Him and his team investigate, any kind of complaints from people that work there or people from the outside that call in because they saw something. His job is to make sure that any fraud, any kind of misinformation, these are things that, again, our Inspector General does make sure he checks and make sure he resolves it because of the sensitivity of our office. That's very important. And every government office has an Inspector General. So it's not independent. But again, and as far as the rest, we make sure on a daily basis that people are working accordingly, that all the information is there. Anybody coming in looking for information has that. We have one thing that we also did was very important is that we opened up a call center. That call center, because what I saw when I got there was that there was all these phone lines and no equipment at the end of those phone lines. So there was these numbers that were out there, people were calling, and there was no answer because there was never a something, a phone attached to it. We saw that there was a lot of numbers. I said, we got to streamline all of this. So what we decided to do is every courthouse has the clerks that are that are expertise. Let it be in civil, let it be in probate, let it be. So we have expungements. So we have a lot of the clerks that are special, that have specialty in those divisions. We created a call center that we can bring many of them to the call center. We have about 30-something employees that work in the call center. And that call center, we found to be very important because people were calling and they would always say, I don't get anybody there. Or they called probate. But guess what? All of the clerks were so busy with our customers that phone would ring. You know what I mean? So we opened up the call center officially in June of 2023. And let me just say, between June of 2023 to today, we've had over 300,000 calls that have come through our office that we've been able to take care of. And the beauty about it is we've offered that in 200 languages. Over 200 languages are part of the call center. So if somebody calls in, and he only speaks Polish, guess what? They're going to get the interpreter and my clerk, and all three will be on the phone resolving whatever they called office for. So that's been something, to me, I find that to be such a way, again, of connecting our office with the people out there. They don't have to come to our office to make, inquiries. They can actually walk through the system right then and there to get whatever they want to resolve. So that's the beauty about having a call center where people now can actually call and don't have to come down to the courthouse.
Imagine the frustration. Imagine the calls and that you didn't get before the call center.
Can you imagine? I mean, and again, that's why sometimes we have to continue to work with suggestions, thoughts, ideas of how do we continue to modernize that office more and more, because it's an office that everybody at one point are going to have to access for whatever reason they might have to. You know what I mean? Even a will. I mean, I talked. We want to talk more about wills. People don't know how important wills are. And our seniors. And making sure that in probate they're doing the outreach to our seniors, letting them know how important it is for them to have a will, because we see the disputes when they come to our office. And when someone passes away, the fights between who it could be. So I always encourage that wherever I go, I talk about probate. I talk about people making sure that their paperwork is in order, because you just never know. You never know of an unexpected tragedy that can happen. And we're there to make sure that the system works for people, that people are not frustrated. And there was a lot of frustration because there were so many areas in the office that were never addressed. And I've been able to address just about every, from, like I said, from the call center to the domestic violence center, to the self-litigant office, to the expungement center. So we've been doing a lot of advances. And again, given the fact that I came in COVID, I came into that office December of 2020. So 2021 is trying to find the clerks to come back to work by making sure that I created an environment for them that was safe for them to come back to work. So you can imagine that took some time. And then we were like 300 plus clerks short already. So, when I got there, all I heard, from the judges, and they were working from home, we need clerks. And I knew that, but we had Shackman. So Mr. Shackman's, the lawsuit was in our office. So for the first 18 months of my administration, I was on the Shackman, on the Shackman monitor, watching everything, the patronage and everything, making sure that we're doing everything right, and that the reason why we were sued in the first place, we were taking care of that. And I was dismissed from that lawsuit 18 months in. The judge was so happy with the fact that I cooperated, that our office cooperated, and that we wanted to make sure that we're doing everything right, that we're hiring people the right way. So there's nothing, so that was very important for us, and being able to get dismissed and save the taxpayer millions of dollars, because the lawsuit from Shackman was a very expensive lawsuit, and I was able to at least get dismissed, and save the tax dollars, to save our taxpayers. That.
So you were 300 clerks short.
At the very beginning when I came in, yes.
So right now, are all those positions filled?
We've been filling, but the problem is, too, we have a lot of attrition. We have a lot of people that have been there 20 and 30 years, are beginning to retire. You know what I mean? So we had that going on. And, of course, we had a contract. We had when I got there, the Teamsters contract had also expired. So I had to negotiate that, and, again, negotiated for much better benefits and contract for the workers that were the clerks, and offer these clerks who never had opportunities in the past to look for upward mobility, to be able to do a bid on other jobs that were much higher pay. You know what I mean? That was something that I had to develop in the system to motivate and to keep our clerks happy, and really committed. And so there was a lot of things that I had to put in play, but that we had vacancies, yes, and we continue to fill them, because we keep filling them, people are retiring, and people are moving to other positions and other jobs in the county, so because maybe they pay more. So there's a lot of, there was so much to do in this last 3 years and getting that office, in a good place. Is it in a good place? Better than it was when I first got there? Absolutely. Do we still need more work to do? Absolutely. There's no doubt that that work is never going to ever end because, technology will always evolve and we have to keep evolving with technology.
Yeah, speaking of which, you told us about your immense responsibility as the keeper of records and that, your Inspector General has to address misinformation. We hear about hacks, this and that in other places such as Social Security, social media. So you have to guard against that too. We have to,
when we've had so many attempts to get into our system, we've been hit. We were, I think our website when we first got there, our website was hit about 4 months in. So we took down the website. We had a landing page so people would not list information, but we had to redesign. And why? Because there was outdated software. Software that was not, encrypted, and that there was no security because it's changed so much. And you can imagine, 2015 to 2017 was the system that was there. So you can imagine how outdated that is. So we're in 2024 now. We are finally up to complete it up to 2023. So we are in a good place right now as far as the modernization of the office. But, IT, we've been, there's been so many attempts because you saw what happened with AT&T. You saw what happened at Lurie Children's Hospital. We're always afraid of the ransomware. That's always our biggest fear. But, we have such a great team of IT folks that are there that have really they've been so innovative and they think outside the box. And we have not had that, and we're thankful to God. I'll knock on wood if we can find wood, but we're thankful. But that the attempts, yes, absolutely, we've had many attempts. But guess what? We're so updated with all the added security. Working with the state, the counties, big security, cybersecurity folks and everything. We've been able to work and making sure that we are protected because that is information that we cannot afford to get out there.
And what is this misinformation that you were talking about that you have to be careful of?
Well, information that is not accurate. People. That's why I tell my we are not legal. We cannot advise. We want to make sure that any kind of misinformation that's being set out there by anyone, because sometimes the inquiry will be. I don't know what the Inspector General gets, but he's very busy, and I know there's a lot of things that go on. He continues to get these cases, close them right away. Inquiries, just information that is not accurate. So there's a lot of things, waste, fraud, sometimes within within divisions, there's things going on, people and all. So there's a lot that keeps him busy. But at the same time as we have in place, we have chiefs, assistant chief, we have managers. So we have a lot of people that are there ensuring that we are doing the work and that any kind of inquiries coming in, we are answering them, and also that we are resolving people's real serious issues when they come into our office looking for some kind of advice or some kind of or some kind of action, for their for themselves or for their family members.
Well, there is so much that your office does for your constituents. So if they were to want to go to your website and then learn more about all the different services that the clerk's office has for them to understand it better, where should they go?
The website is on www.cookcountyclerk.org.
Okay.
cookcountycircuitcourt.org.
cookcountycircuitcourt.org.
It's a hard one. I always say it's the office times five because it's five. There's five CCs, right? So, yeah.
Well, like our website, rogerspark.cc for Chamber of Commerce.
There you go. See. So.
And maybe some people get confused by the Cook County Clerk and your office too.
Oh, I get a lot of that because there's like the county clerk, which happens to be Karen Yarborough. Then I am the circuit court clerk, and that people forget that circuit court, that word circuit. So it's different than the regular county clerk. So yeah, there's a lot of sometimes people come looking for me that says I need a death certificate. That's not us. We don't do death certificates.
No marriage certificates, no vitals, no nothing.
Well, anybody can. We can marry. I mean, I can. Anybody can officiate as a officer of the court. court, you can officiate, but everything you can go and officiate, but then the paperwork has to be filed over at the county clerk's office. The county clerk's office.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Community Unity Now. Our very special guest is Iris Martinez, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. This is my co-host, Bill Morton, President of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week.